Okay. You ready to pod?
I'm ready to pod.
This is the What's Next podcast, Houston's #1 platform where I invite creators to share their journeys and give us a depiction of their visions. Most importantly, the last question I'll ask is, what's next? Okay. Sounding crispy. Episode 103. With my Virgo sister. Walk with us.
Yo, it feel like 95. Sachi on my body.
Yes.
Biggie, jigger, puffy, all that ballin' is a hobby.
Okay.
I'm wildin' in my wallies, them valleys, no Pilates.
Houston, Texas. Welcome back to the 103rd edition of the What's Next podcast, a production of Still Visionary Inc. This is a creative story, and I'm glad to welcome back my dear Virgo sister, Zennurgize. How you doing?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
No doubt. Listen, it's 2021, and you know I couldn't move further in the podcast without having you drop some gems.
Alrighty then.
Because every time we vibe on the podcast, you drop gems that I take away, and I'm just like, man, that makes a lot of sense. Because I see myself in you. I see a lot of you in myself, and you know, you're an educator. I'm an educator, and I like to sit and listen to you talk. You're the voice.
Thank you. Thank you.
Before we get started with the episode, let's introduce our social media handles so we don't disrupt the flow of the conversation when we get to that point.
Well, you can find me on Facebook. Zennurgize, Zenase is my personal page. I also have Zennurgize Poetry, Zennurgy, Zennurgy. Awaken Verses is my merch line. And you can also find me at 100,000 Poets for Change. I'm the Houston head for that. On Instagram, it's Zennurgize Poetry all smushed together. And Zennurgy also on Instagram. Same thing on Twitter, Zennurgize. LinkedIn is my government name, Marlena Johns. You know, so... Yeah. And then I have my YouTube page, Zennurgy. So if you search Zennurgy, and you can find Zennurgy on all podcasting platforms, you know, Apple, Pandora, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Amazon, everything. Okay.
And my name is John Ross Dyke the First. You can follow me on Instagram and on Twitter at John Ross Dyke and still _visionary. And now the What's Next Pod _ on IG. If you would, connect with me on LinkedIn, subscribe to my YouTube channel, like my fan page on Facebook, and visit my website at stillvisionary.com. Directly in front of you, I have all the merch that I sell on this podcast out the trunk of my car. And what was the last spot? On my website. And you can shop stillvisionary.com/merch. And this is a new addition that I added to the website last night. This windbreaker. It's supposed to be winter, so I got winter stuff. And now it's turning to spring already. So I'm hoping that the groundhog, doesn't see his shadow or, doesn't see his shadow, and we get some more winter.
Gotcha.
Otherwise, it's back to teas.
Gotcha.
Listen, Zen, welcome back to the podcast in 2021. It's a blessing to have you here.
Thank you.
Listen, we've been doing business for a while now. And congratulations on your first successful event, the workshop.
Thank you.
Right. And I wanted to wait to this very moment on the podcast because this is what I wanted to create this podcast for, this platform for, was to have people buy what they like when they hear it. So if it's something you like, support us. If it's something you don't like, maybe pass it to somebody else and they might support. So I had in mind to go ahead and buy the workbook last week, but I said, nah, wait a minute. I want to do it on the podcast. So here we are. How are you?
I'm great. I'm awesome.
Good. What's been going on?
So much. There's always so much going on. I always have like 20 things on my to-do list every day. So there's school, there's interviews, there's booking people for my podcast, there's expanding my merch line, there's adding things to my store, there's supporting other people.
Right.
There's always so much.
Right. Listen, I don't want to take up much of your time today. I want to spend a lot of time diving into this new creation that you made. If you could define yourself with one word in that creation, what would it be?
Catalyst.
Catalyst?
Yes.
Why?
Well, I think that there are people who want to change, but they don't know how, and they need something to jumpstart them.
Right.
And once they get jump-started, they can move forward because they have that infusion of energy or that infusion of insight or that infusion of direction, whatever it is that they need. They get that, and then it's a catalyst. And what a catalyst does is start a chain reaction.
Right.
So a chain reaction isn't just one result. It's actually a flow of events that cascades. And it can cascade for quite a while. If you've ever seen somebody set up dominoes, they hit that one domino and it can keep going and going and going until a whole room full of dominoes is knocked down. So that's the thing about a catalyst, is that chain reaction can be long lasting and even never ending. So that's what I want to be for people. I want to be a catalyst. That's what I want this workbook to be, is a catalyst. I want it to spark change that really ripples out, because I really believe if you change in one area, it doesn't stay in that area. It actually impacts all the areas of your life.
Right.
And so that's why change can be so powerful, especially if it's directed change, if it's very intentional change.
How do you define intentional for you? What does that look like?
Intentional means that you have set out your destination, and therefore you're making this change with an end in mind. Now, the end may change, but you have already set in mind, this is the end I want to get to. Most times the end we get to is bigger than the end we expected.
Right.
But at least we have a destination in mind.
Right. I like the fact, Zen, when you talk, first of all, you're the voice. I like to call you the voice, number one. But when you talk, it's always, I can tell you're an educated and well-read woman by the way you talk. And so, at the workshop, I was like, okay, I know I'm working, but I can't wait to really, I'm going to try it. I'm going to try it is what I said to myself. I'm going to try it and see if, because I do my own thing in terms of like, I write things down, right? And I write down goals, and, it's not as organized as you are, but I write down goals, but I would like to see or invest in actually doing what I profess that I do. You know what I'm saying? And that is supporting people. So I want to make sure that this go around, I'm going to actually dive into the workbook, try it out, and not wait for it, not say, okay, if it doesn't work, then something's wrong. I'm just going to keep on pacing myself inside of it. So I want to specifically talk about that today.
My name is Zennurgize, and I have a weekly podcast called Zennurgize, which is fuel for the mind, body, and soul. And this is the Zennurgize Your Life Goal Setting Package, Volume 1. It comes with the workbook, a journal, stickers, a bookmark, tabs, and a QR code where you can find my podcast. And inside this workbook, you're going to have 16 different principles. The first one, I'm going to show you mine, is abundance. You have a place to put pictures that inspire you of role models, also pictures of goals that you want to create, goals, journal prompts, meditations, affirmations, all kinds of things to help you focus on this principle to better your life. And like I said, there's 16 principles. So this is a $15 package that comes with all of these things I've shown you, $21 with shipping and handling, and you can get it at laughsandlyrics.com. So Zennurgize your life with me. Thank you.
Creativity comes from experiences. How do you get to start with this?
So COVID happened, as we all know, and March 15th was my last show last few months. And when March 16th came, I was actually at Denny's, and the waitress said, we're closing the dining area after today. This will be the last time you can dine in for whoever knows how long. And I went home and I said, okay, they're closing the dining areas of the restaurants. The clubs are going to be closed. All of the plans that I had for the next several months have just stopped. There is no ability to do any shows. My summer is possibly gone. My fall may be possibly gone. And I just saw this big dollar sign that I had in my head just evaporate just right there.
Right.
And it was stunning to take that in. At first, I'm like, okay, it's 2 weeks. All right, let's see what happens in 2 weeks. Maybe everything will go back to normal. Maybe it's not going to be as big a deal as they're saying. Maybe whatever, maybe. 2 weeks pass, and no, we're still in this quarantine.
Right.
And now you're getting all the news reports and everything is freaking out. And I said, okay. I need to reevaluate what I'm doing. I need to pivot.
Right.
How do I do that? And for a while, I didn't have an answer to that question. And then I said, what did I do as a kid? What did I do as a kid when I felt stuck? I said, my mama gave me a Bible promise book. And I have moved away from the church, but I love that Bible promise book because it said, when you feel depressed, read this. When you feel sad, read this. When you feel whatever, read this. I was like, I still have within me a lot of qualities that can probably pull me out of this problem that I have.
The problem
of I can't figure out what to do because life has changed.
Right.
So I have to find a way to tap into that. I have to find a way to mine what's inside of me. I have to find a way to pull that out and really change my direction. Right.
Right.
And so I said to myself, okay, what do I have inside of me that I can possibly use that may be able to get me out of this situation? And I went back to the ABCs and I pulled out my planner and I started writing down, I have my attitude. I have the ability to adapt. I have, ambition. I just started writing all these A's, and then I have boundaries and I have balance and and I went to the C's and I have courage and I just started going. And then I was writing and I said, you know what? Oh, I got a whole alphabet of stuff that I could use. And I bet everybody else is sitting out there feeling the same way that I'm feeling, but they didn't come up with this idea. They don't know what to use. They're feeling stuck. They're feeling frustrated. They're angry. They are lost. I need to tell people that you do have something to use.
Right.
And I need to get people who have a story about using certain things, who are finding a way to move beyond this. And then I started thinking about the fact that people have been telling me I have a nice voice, as you said. I need to do a podcast. Right. And I was very intimidated by that idea. And then at first I thought, is this a bad idea? Should I even think about this? I called my sister and I said, I'm thinking about doing a podcast. And she said, you should do it. She said, because I had done like a Reiki session on her. Reiki is like energy healing where you basically you play really soft music and you basically put your hands over people in different spots and you just expect for energy to flow through you from the universe into their bodies. And I was just saying things like, picture your body relaxing, picture your shoulders, picture yourself, in a stream of water. So I'm talking to her and she's laying on the bed and I'm just kind of doing this meditation, this in-person meditation session with her.
Right.
And she was like, you have no idea what you did to me when you just talked to me. And I was laying on the bed. She was like, I was so stressed out before I went in that room. I was upset. You didn't even know how frazzled I was. And you just sat and you just put your hands around me and you just talked to me for like 30 minutes. And I walked out of there feeling like I had just been on vacation. She was like, yes, you should do a podcast. People would pay to hear you because you're soothing, you're inspiring. She was like, I would pay to hear you and I'm your sister, And I was like, okay. And so that is where the nexus of the idea came. And then when the podcast happened, the thing that I loved about it is people could go back to it. They can always go back and listen to the episode again. The thing that I didn't like about it is being an educator. We all know that everybody doesn't learn, from auditory.
Right.
Right?
Right.
You have visual learners, you have auditory learners, you have kinesthetic learners. some people need to put their hands on something.
Right.
Some people need something visual besides me on a video that's not visual enough for them. They need to actually read the words. And I said, I'm an educator. I know how this works. If I really want to impact people, I have to put something in their hands.
Right.
And I'm not just talking about a t-shirt. I have to actually put something in their hands that they can manipulate so that the kinesthetic learners can work with it. The visual learners can work with it. The auditory learners can listen to the podcast. You know, it'll be something for everybody. And I was like, I need to create a workbook. And the workbook needs to be compact. It needs to be something that you could literally, you know, put in your hands.
Just me right here?
Sure.
What's the Cash App? What's the Cash App?
Zennurgize Poetry.
Okay, you say how much it is, right?
It's $15 for the package. So I wanted to put something, you know, because I'm the kind of person where I like everything in one. I like, if you're gonna give me I know that there are lots of people who do vision boards, and I've done vision boards twice in my life, and I didn't like it for the fact that I needed more than a picture. I needed more than a set of pictures. That wasn't enough for me. It was useful. It was a starting point. But for me, there were so many tools that I had learned in my 50 years of living. And I wanted something that had everything in one. I wanted to put affirmations with it, goals. I wanted to put journal prompts with it. I wanted to put meditations with it. I also wanted to have a space for the pictures. You know, so when you open it, you have all that stuff, and yeah, you could open yours, sure.
Hold on, right quick.
Okay.
This is an audio experience, so hold on. Give us 1 second. Hold on. Habakkuk 2:2-3 says, "And the Lord answered me and said, Write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. You do what you do for yourself to prove you can do it for others. Even though the year of perfect vision needed corrective lenses, your vision was never out of focus. You remained still. You remained determined." Kobe said, "The Mamba mentality is the attention to detail and the level of commitment. Run your race because you got time. Keep the momentum. Believe in your story, a creative story. Remember, never stay comfortable while trusting the process. Be innovative in your 720 hours. There will be stumbling blocks. You just keep pushing. Most importantly, what's next? Continue to drop."
Every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday?
Every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday. Oh yeah, that was gonna kill us. You know, that sound was gonna kill us. I had to mute it right quick. Go ahead. All right, I'm ready.
All right, so every page of the workbook is a concept. And I started off with, you know, it's in alphabetical order.
Right.
So the very first concept is the very first podcast that I did, which was on abundance. Because the very first thing I told you I thought was money evaporated. There's all my money from the live shows just going out the door. And I'm freaking out a little bit because I already had plans for this money. And I'm feeling a little overwhelmed because I'm losing money. And then I started thinking, abundance is still accessible to me. I still have the ability to make money. I just have to change the way I make money. And so when I created the podcast, again, I'm thinking about after a couple of months after the podcast, putting everything here. And I realized, just like I said, what did I do when I was a kid? My memories are a treasure trove. Everybody has memories that they can go back to where they felt like they could do anything,
Right.
where they felt like they could overcome, they felt powerful, they felt inspired. But we don't tap into those to push us forward to the next thing. And I wanted people to tap into those memories. I wanted them to record those memories and say, hey, if you did it once, you can do it again.
Right.
And if you did it once, what did you do that actually made that work? And do that again.
Right.
You know, so with abundance, I wanted them to create kernel memories, well, for every topic, you know, and journal them, journal those memories down, go back to those feelings, go back to those thoughts, go back to the motivation they had. Because when you are in the middle of COVID and you lost your job and this and this and this, all you're feeling is all the negativity. You're not thinking about you've gotten through stuff before.
Mm-hmm.
You've gotten through hard times before. You can do it again.
Right.
And so this was my first page that I created.
Okay.
And I'll show it to you, and I'll show it up here for the camera. And so there's a space for you to put an ancestor. And by ancestor, I don't mean somebody in your literal family. I mean somebody in your culture. I put Langston Hughes.
Right.
This man was able to create a life as a writer in the 20s. He was the first Black person to live by his art. If that's not abundance, if that's not breaking through barriers, I don't know what is. When there's Jim Crow and everything else,
right.
And his legacy is still with us today. People quote
Facts.
him like he's just
Facts.
like he's still walking around.
Facts.
So I want that kind of thing, and if he did it again, I can do it. I put Oprah Winfrey. Of course, we all know Oprah. The woman's a billionaire. The woman's created all kind of stuff,
Right.
So she symbolizes abundance to me, but she's also about helping people. She's
Right.
also about touching people. She's also about encouraging people, inspiring people. And then I put the world on here. See the world.
Mm-hmm.
And if you see here, this particular picture of the world has all these arrows.
Right.
So I put all the different ways that I could possibly make money.
Right.
Workshops, live shows, Teespring,
Mm-hmm.
Zennurgize sponsorships. I got all of that. And there's little people on here. You can't really see them. So I put like different groups of people that I wanted to touch.
Right.
So this is abundance. This is like the whole world and all the things that are out there for me to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so even just looking at this makes me feel like, oh my gosh, there's all these opportunities. There's all of this that I can do. And then you get to journal with it. So like you have tabs, so you can see I have my tab. So I actually journaled about my memory of abundance, and I journaled about, things that I was glad about, things that I was excited about, things that I saw opportunities for. And then I journaled about Langston Hughes and Oprah Winfrey and things that I wanted to take from their lives and incorporate into my own lives. So you can see my journals. And then I wrote down some affirmations. I got little sticky tabs. You can see I got my little tabs and stuff. So that's what you're doing here is basically this is for you to create your own touchstones, your own things that inspire you, that motivate you when you look at it. I put a goal on here. My goal is to sell 100 of these goal setting packets. I'm already 42 in right now.
I just sent you $30.
I'm including yours. I'm 42 in right now, and I
Right.
just started on January 2nd. So,
Right.
yeah. So when I finish that goal, I'm gonna put a little sticker by the goal. So you get a pack of stickers in here. You get a bookmark with this. In
How
fact,
much
I
is
have
the
a new
bookmark?
set of bookmarks.
How much was the bookmark?
I'm selling these for $1.
Okay, let me
Yeah.
get two of those too.
Okay.
Hold on.
So
Because I
this
saw one
is-
that I liked.
Okay. So these little tiles are bookmarks, and you actually can open them up and you set them on the page, and they all have inspirational sayings. So this one says like, make every day your masterpiece. So there's like 12 different ones. So if you wanted all 12 of them, all different 12 sayings, it would be $10 for the 12, or they're $1 each. And I think these are really cute, and, they're cool because they open up, and like I said, they stick on the page. So you can literally stick it on the page where you are, and you got your bookmark right there, So I've got my bookmark on the page. So in the packet, you got this handy dandy packet. You stick everything in the packet. A lot of people have told me they like it because it's organized. It's everything's in one place. It's resealable, and you get the stickers, you get the bookmark, you get the journal, you get the workbook. The workbook has actually 16 different pages in it, so it's all A's. I will be creating a B one later, and a C and a D, so it's gonna be the whole alphabet eventually. But right now, this is the first one. This is volume 1.
So this
And-
it sounds like $1 million idea.
Thank you. Thank you. One of the ladies at the workshop, she said, I'm so excited. I got this for $25. I got the workbook, because the workbook package itself is $15. I just charged $10 for that workshop,
Right.
So she was like, I can't even believe I sat there and got this. Cause she's like, one day you're going to be selling this for $1,000 or more.
Right.
She was like, that. And I was like, I'm going to receive that from you. Cause she was like, this is so inspiring, and we're sitting here talking about the people that inspired us. It's got places for you to put a song, a movie, a book. She was like, you just brought out 10 books. I got a whole reading list. I could read through this for the whole year. She was like, literally, I could take this workbook and work on it for the whole year.
Right.
I could take a principle a month and work on it for that month, or I could take a principle a week. It's geared for you to do it how you want to do it. Some people might do it one a weekend. Some people might do it, one a day. And then they're looking for the next book,
Right.
but it's up to you, one a month. But there's actually 16 different principles. And when you get to the back, it's actually got 18 what I call toolbox builders. So like the first one is read a book on finances, date completed and title. So it gives you like 18 different things to do. Because once again, when I said a vision board wasn't enough for me, you need to give me some stuff to do.
Right.
I mean, just looking at a couple of pictures, that's beautiful and it's nice to look at, but what am I supposed to do to get to that picture? So I've given you like 18 different things to do. If you read a whole book on finances and you don't come up with something out that book, the problem is not the book, it's you. You know what I'm saying? You got to find something. So I'm giving you things that you can do that are very practical. And it's very, I'm not telling you what book to read on finances. I'm letting you pick the book. But I am going to be posting on my Facebook page, my Instagram page, my going through this process. So yesterday I did a 15-minute live where I actually took you through my first page, my abundance page. And I talked about Langston Hughes and I talked about Oprah Winfrey, and I actually read my journals on Facebook Live. So you could hear kind of the thought process that was going in my head about abundance. So I will be doing that from time to time because sometimes people need a visual. In school, we call it modeling.
Right.
We model for our students.
Right.
So in a sense, the people who buy this workbook, they are my virtual students, just in a life.
I'm getting these 5 right here.
Okay.
I'm cash up you right now.
Okay.
You
awesome.
said it's $1 a piece.
Uh-huh.
Okay,
Yeah.
no doubt. Go ahead.
So the thing that I wanted to leave with people is that growth takes some decisive action, but it also begins inside. And so here with this, you're actually beginning to change the inside first, and then it's going to come out. You're beginning to change your thought process. You're beginning to change the role models that you have. You're beginning to expose yourself to different things, because the more you expose yourself to things, the wider your horizons get, the more you see as possible.
Right.
And so that's where a lot of us get stuck, is we don't have enough that we're exposing ourselves to. We're in the same environment around the same people, and we do the same thing. If you want to change, you got to expose yourself to new things, so that this is a way to do that, we do the podcast weekly on Sundays, the Zennurgize podcast on Sundays. And every time we converse after and before the podcast, I take away the fact that, you know what? I've said this to myself on the way home. Man, Zen is always talking about $1, is what I've said to myself. And then I look at my own journey and I say, yes, that is the goal is to make money the way I want to make it for myself and be happy doing that. Not have to ever feel like, man, like as an educator. Sometimes as an educator, I feel, listen, you put so much pressure on us. But really where it starts from is these parents got to get a hold of their kids and instill that education is important. Because if they don't, then we're just, speaking to a wall at some point. We're trying to emphasize the fact of, hey, you need to get your work. Because when you get to your senior year and you want to go to college, you haven't done anything. How are they going to give you any kind of money when you don't have the grace to justify it? So I said to myself, man,
I want to get to this dollar. Is that the end goal for you, or why does everything come with a price tag? And that, I don't mean that as an insult, because I actually admire it.
Well, okay, everything doesn't come with a price tag.
Right.
I do a lot of stuff for free.
No doubt.
I perform a lot for free. I give out a lot of Facebook Lives and advice and slots on my show, my live show, for free.
Right.
I'm constantly investing in other people, but I also believe that to build something lasting, you have to have a financial base. So, and also I believe that I want everything I do to be affordable.
Right.
$15, you could spend that at Whataburger.
Facts.
And it's not going to last you a year, whereas this $15 could literally last you a year.
Right.
So to me saying to you this is $15 is not, in a sense, asking for anything really at all, because I'm giving you the opportunity to invest in yourself.
Right.
And I'm saying, how does CoverGirl say it, or Maybelline, you're worth it. You're worth $15. You're worth the time. You're worth the energy. You're worth the effort. So whatever I sell is, how can I put this? It is priced to be economical and what I feel is good value. I am not a person that likes to spend money. I like to feel that I'm getting a good deal for my money. I'm the kind of bargain shopper. I will even go to thrift stores and shop.
Right.
That's the kind of person I am. So if I feel something's overpriced, I can tell you right now, I'm not buying it.
Right.
If I'm that way, I expect my audience to be that way. So I'm not saying to anybody, I'm gonna sell you something that's $50, $100, $200. I'm not saying that. I just told you that I offered my workshop for $10.
Right.
A 2-hour workshop for $10.
Right.
Where you got the ability to come talk to other people, the ability to ask questions, the ability to, do all this stuff for $10. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing that with the digital workshop. So what I'm selling is for me to be able to continue what I do. And what I do is trying to bring goodness to the world.
Right.
Okay. I'm not trying to take from anybody. I'm actually trying to give to people. Because like I said, I feel like if it's going to help me, it's going to help somebody. When I was lost and didn't know what to do and didn't know how I was going to figure out where I was going, I'm not just thinking about me. I'm thinking about all the other people who are in that same boat. So to me, the best way to make money is to solve someone's problem. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like this is a problem solver.
Right.
You don't know where to go? Look at these 16 principles. I guarantee you one of them is going to give you some direction, if not all of them. I guarantee you one of them is going to spark some kind of inspiration and motivation in you, maybe uplift you, maybe make you feel more expansive. I have to be quiet sometimes because Saturday and Sunday morning, the first hour when I get up, I go to the bathroom, wash my face, brush my teeth, urinate, and I get right back in bed and I sit there and I think, I meditate, I listen to some inspirational somebody, and I sit there and plan for an hour, at least an hour, because they say you do your best thinking when you first wake up and your mind is still, your subconscious is still active.
Right.
And when I'm sitting there meditating, visualizing, journaling, whatever, sometimes I'll get these ideas and they're so real to me that I actually want to walk out of there and tell somebody what just happened, but then I realize it hasn't happened yet. It's just a vision. I want to tell somebody, man, I just sold 200 booklets, but I haven't sold one yet. But it was so real to me that I just sold 200 in my head. And I have to say, okay, oh, that feels good. That feels good. I see that. Okay, now I got to wait for it to happen. So I want people to understand that everything starts mental first. And when it becomes real to you mentally, that's when it starts to happen on the physical plane.
Right.
And so I heard it said this way, everything is created twice. First, it's created in your head, and then it's created in the real world. And you got to first, they said to Walt Disney, right? Walt Disney was on his deathbed like the day before, the week before Disney World was going to open. And they say, man, it's such a shame. You're not going to see it. You're not going to see your dream come to pass. And he said, what are you talking about? I saw it before anybody else did.
Mm.
He wasn't even worried about walking on the grounds. He wasn't even worried about the fact that he was on his deathbed, because it was so real to him when everybody was telling him he was crazy. It was so real to him that he had to make it happen. That's how real it was. And so because I have had that ability to do that, and I have made that my pattern, my habit, I wanted to help other people get to that point. Because, people will look at me, like people at work or people who knew me from 5 years ago or 6 years ago. They'll say, how did you get here? How did you go from a teacher to having 3 businesses? How did you go from a person who didn't even say anything in meetings to you've done 57 live shows of your own? And you've done all, how in the world did you get there? I was like, that's a long story, but here, let me just hand this to you. This is how, this is, you want to know how I got there? I put certain principles in my life.
Right.
And I lived those principles out.
Right.
And those principles became so powerful to me that they changed me from the inside out. And still, I'm in the process of transforming. You know what I'm saying?
Do I need to read books to be able to answer these questions in here?
No, you don't. The books are, if you are watching me and you are watching the podcast, I am going to give you books to read. I am going to actually, anybody out there, my link tree, he'll put it in this video. On my link tree, I have a Patreon sponsorship. It starts at $3. Like I already said a minute ago, I'm not trying to break your bank. I am trying to give you some value for the money that you would spend on a McDonald's latte. Okay?
Right.
So for $3 a month, you literally can get access to every single audiobook that I'm listening to. I think right now I have 4 on there. I think I have 22 affirmations, audio affirmations. All this stuff is on YouTube. So the stuff that I'm reading, as I am reading it and really feel like it's going to be valuable, I even have movies on there. I'm moving it into my YouTube, basically. So it's still in that person's, whoever posted it on YouTube is still on their page. I'm just saving it to a playlist.
Right.
So you can actually, you don't have to, in a sense, go hunting for this stuff. I'm actually willing to give you everything that I'm using so you can use it, You don't have to recreate the wheel. So I'm going to give you on every Zennurgy podcast a book. I'm going to give you in the Patreon audio links. Drive to work. Keep doing the same thing you're doing. Hit the YouTube and listen to it. You know what I'm saying? Instead of listening to some music, every now and then listen to an audiobook. Every now and then listen to the podcast. I'm not trying to say you have to change your entire life. I am trying to say that you do have to invest in yourself. And invest in yourself means you're going to have to change some things, So however you want to do that, that's up to you. But it does take an investment of time.
Right.
So.
You published this yourself?
I did, yes.
Boss moves. Boss moves. Boss moves. Look, Zed, I'm not going to lie to you. Okay, you got song in here. I'm a music guy. What song's on your mind when you made this?
The song that I just wrote down and I just put this morning into my Patreon playlist was Infinite Possibilities by Emile LaRue.
Okay. Okay.
That's a beautiful, beautiful song. Beautiful song. But, the one thing I've noticed as I have started investing in myself more and taking, like I said, that hour a day on Saturday and Sunday mornings and really visualizing is that the whole idea of limitations is disappearing for me. Like, I literally don't see them anymore. Like, if anybody anywhere has ever done it, I can do it.
Right.
You know, I just, that whole idea of limitations. I used to feel like, well, you know, I maybe can't, maybe I'm too old, maybe I'm too, now I don't even, no, I don't even see any of that.
Right.
Because it's all about mindset.
Right.
It's all about investment. So that's a song that's in my mind, Infinite Possibilities. I definitely believe in infinite possibilities.
Listen, today has been a day of, this weekend has been a weekend of dropping music videos, and my favorite rap of all time dropped his 27 Summers record. Nas dropped his 27 Summers record. I love that record. And the church I serve at, they dropped their music video for Over Again today. And those two records are on my mind right now. Awesome. We watched it before. You know, I love that song. I love it. I've loved it since the first time I heard it. And, you know, Nas I just feel motivated when I listen to his music. 341 days left in the year. What do you hope to attain in 341 days?
Man, I really don't know. I mean, I probably will produce a couple more volumes of, you know, Zennurgize Your Life. I'm definitely wanting to grow. You know, Zennurgy is in 6 countries as I last looked. I want to cross over that 1,000 downloads mark.
Right.
You know, that'll be to me a huge milestone. So everybody out there, go download Zennurgy, Zennurgy. You know,
no doubt.
I want to cross that 1,000 downloads mark, and I just want to blow the limitations, like the whole glass ceiling, just blow that up. Not only for myself, but for everybody. You know, I have this, I think about Oprah again. I'm going to go back to Oprah.
Right.
I look at how everybody that she came in contact with, that she saw something in. You think about Iyanla. You think about, Dr. Phil.
Right.
You know, you think about Deepak Chopra. Every person, she said, oh, I see something in you. Let me get you on. Let me get you a show. That's what I want to do for people. I may not be able to get you a show, you know, but I want us all to rise together. You know, I think she was a great inspiration in saying, whatever influence I have, I want to use not only for myself, but for everybody around me that has a gift that I see that's really beneficial to other people. And that's part of what the Zennurgy podcast is about, is really bringing people on that are doing something. So I want to boost as many people as I can. I want to shine a light on as many people as I can. You know, if that's 1 a week, 52 in a year, man, right. What if I could boost 52 people's careers, boost 52 people's personal lives, you know, boost 52 people's influence? That's a great accomplishment.
You know, listen, I want to let it be known on this podcast that I look up to you. I think the first time I met you, of course, I was just like, man, she has a lovely voice. And I was thinking to myself, too, her voice is, you know, it's one of those voices where you could hear it somewhere else. Then I approached you, and I've told this story before on this podcast. I've approached you, and I was like, hey, man, I listened to your poem, you know, Fathers Are Not Disposable, which is one of my favorite poems. Fathers Are Not Disposable. And I was like, I just want to, you know, I want to get you on the podcast. And of course, then you were trying to sell me a T-shirt, and I was like, nah, I don't want to buy a T-shirt, but I would love to. But ever since then, I've just like, man, I truly, truly enjoy listening to what you offer.
Thank
right.
you.
And yeah, I look up to you, and I think that as an educator, as an entrepreneur, as a poet, you bring a lot. And I just like conversing with you, because I feel like the next thing for you would probably be to write a book, maybe somewhere down the line, whenever you get the inspiration. But yeah, I just love picking your brain.
Thank you.
The T-shirt thing was really, you know, because when we did that in December, then after that episode, right, I talked to my homegirl in Cali, and she's using Teespring. And so while she was talking, I was thinking, man, Zen is using Teespring too. But for me, which we'll get into, I'm a control type guy.
I got you.
You know, so I can't let too many people, like, prime example, I bought a T-shirt for 2 t-shirts from my wife from somebody else, right? And it's probably not gonna get there till February. And I'm like, man, you know, it's a long time, but hey, it is what it is. It'll get there when it gets there. So listen, we're gonna do it again, of course. Most importantly, the last question I'll ask is, what's next?
Yeah, I think you asked me that and we got back. We went back. What's next is whatever my intuition says,
Right.
whatever the ancestors say, wherever
Right.
the flow leads.
Right.
I believe in following the flow. I believe in allowing.
Right.
Allow it to happen. And I have control. Control can keep you boxed in, because if I had stayed controlled, I probably wouldn't have done some of the things that I have done. So what's next is whatever the spirit leads me to.
Right.
That's what's next. Yeah.
Listen, I don't have a t-shirt for you today, but in 2021, I was thinking about what I wanted to give everybody that came on the podcast, and I'm still working on that idea. Right, but I will say this: we will be back. Listen, this is 103. My dear friend, Virgo sister, Zennurgize, dropping gems. Houston, Texas, man. This drops on Tuesday, the last episode of January. 341 days left. We're trying to make it. We're just trying to make it. I do what I do for myself to prove that I can do it for others. Peace and blessings. See you next week. We
Yo,
gone.
I feel like 95. Sachi on my body. Baby chick with puffin' on my bones. I hobby in wildin' in my wallies. And them valleys, no Pilates. More way get you more way. Nah, that's these Spumante. My crystal ball, I see crystal. I crystal y'all with that. I saw the sign like Ace of Spades. That Ace of Spades get cracked me like cheers to the money guy. The Willie niggas who buy them bottles. And then they spill these liquors. Yo, salute my dude. I see you, dog. 5 bottles, 1 dick. Why I need 2 bras? I know I'm out of line, but love is shower time. You know it rose rain when your cloud is 9. Get off that high ass hussy. This a private party. Been on my dick too long. Your breath on private party. You gon' be nice and naughty. These walls on priceless Audi. This the uppercut. Fuck is up. Overdose. Guess we did it again.